and a very happy new year to you. My name is Jonathan and welcome back to the Edinburgh Watch Company YouTube channel. So what better way to start the new year than with a fantastic collection of 7 of the best Rolex sports watches. Okay, so before we start looking at these lovely sports watches, let's just do a quick wristwatch check. And today I am wearing the Rolex Sea-Dweller, the SD4000. And you see me wearing this watch before. I thought it's a great watch to partner these beautiful sports watches we're going to be looking at. And this one came out around about 2014 to 2017. And we've got the replacement, the 50th anniversary one to share with you today. But I think it's one of the best all-round sports watches. Stainless steel, lovely, lovely dial. For me, just the right size, the perfect watch. So, over the Christmas and the New Year period, we have been buying some lovely new watches into stock. And I think every one of these watches, apart from the Sea-Dweller, is in fact a 2022 watch, and they're all unworn, all complete with all their original box and papers. And you can find out more about these watches by visiting our website, edinburghwatchcompany.co.uk. Okay, so let's kick off with perhaps one of the most desirable watches in the range. This watch we have is the Rolex Daytona ceramic. As you'll know, these watches you can have in stainless steel with the white or the black dial. Each to their own. I'm very lucky. I've had the opportunity to have worn both of them through the years, and it would be very, very hard for me to pick one over the other. They're both nice in their own way. I think this black one is slightly more understated than the white one, but they're just overall an absolutely lovely watch. Probably my favorite watch of all time, the Rolex Daytona, and I wouldn't matter what variant you gave me it in. I was actually just talking to Scott, the guy who behind the camera today, and we were talking about the Daytona, and I think this is going to be an anniversary year for it as well again, so it'd be interesting to see what happens. Are they going to discontinue the platinum one, or what might they introduce just to keep that focus on the Daytona? But this one's absolutely lovely. Stainless steel, 904L grain stainless steel. It's a model that has been out for a long, long time. But of course, when this came out in around about 2016, they gave it that ceramic bezel, and that's the most biggest difference to it in how it looks. The dial is slightly different than before, but it's a lovely slim watch, really decent power reserve on it, very accurate, about 2 seconds per day. And it's fitted here, as you can see, on the oyster bracelet, and this one has the polished center links in it as well, so it's kind of sporty and dressy as well. Those of you who've watched the videos before will know I've got an 8-inch wrist, so it's perfect on my wrist there, but if I hold it up to camera here, you can just see how slim it is. And it's one of these watches that you really just don't know you're wearing it, but when you go and look at it, you look at the time, it's very, very hard not just to be absorbed in the pure beauty of this watch, and of course it tells the time too. I absolutely love this watch. Pricing wise, I'm not going to cover the prices of these watches today because prices are changing all the time, and I'm conscious with over 500 videos now, these videos are up for years, so it's best just to go and jump on the website and see what the pricing is. However, as I say, we're shooting this video in January 2022. The prices have come back. In fact, no, it's 2023, Scott tells me. The prices have come back quite considerably, and we have certainly got this watch listed at a lot less expensive than what it was. So there we are, the Rolex Daytona. I think a great place to start this sports collection. One of these watches, I think that it's a halo watch for me and for many, and if it's something you want to add to your collection, yes, it's going to be definitely double list and more, but it's something that you'll probably have, you know, for the rest of your life, and something that, while it is very expensive to buy now, something that you could, you know, literally pass down to the next generation. So we go from the Daytona to probably one of my favorites, which is the Rolex Yacht-Master. And I think the Rolex Yacht-Master is very understated, really. This is my favorite combination, but then I love the color blue. And this is the new model Rolex Yacht-Master. It's the 126622. And the difference they made, because this blue one was available from about 2013, but what they've done is they've introduced the new movement to it. And so this has the bang up-to-date movement with a bigger power reserve, around about 70 hours, again very accurate to plus or minus 2 seconds per day, and a few changes around its resistance to shock and magnetism. But that's the detail. It's the look of it. I think it's gorgeous. It's got like a sunburst blue dial, and of course the red second hand and the Yacht-Master writing in red. It just works really well. The main body of the watch, it's in 904 L grade stainless steel, but the bezel here is in fact in solid platinum, so it has that really luxurious look and feel, and of course having precious metal. And you know, these selling typically on the aftermarket, the independent market like myself, at less expensively than you actually pay for a Submariner. But the Submariner is the one that would sell first. It commands more money. But why, you ask? This, to me, is the value watch. It's absolutely gorgeous. It really is. The case lugs here are quite slim, almost like a Daytona. The dial, as I said, in this gorgeous blue, lovely big lume plots there for nighttime reading. I had one of these watches, an older version of this, and I took the bracelet off it and I put the blue rubber bead strap on it. It was the dark blue one, but I kept the deploy and clasp, and it was absolutely, it works so well. So again, that's something you can do for maybe £250. Not an expensive strap, but it just gives a different look to it. The bracelet on the Yacht-Master, like the Daytona, you can see here, it is the polished center links through the middle, and it's the oyster bracelet as well, so really, really comfortable, and a very, very slim watch on the wrist. You can see there on my agent's wrist, but look at the way that color absolutely pops, and there you can see the bracelet satinized on the outside edges. The bracelet also features, like the Daytona, the Easy Link function as well, so just allows you very easily just to go and adjust the bracelet to suit. But I think this is one of the best value watches in the Rolex sports range. And there you can just see how slim it is on the wrist, and very easily fits underneath the shirt cuff. But yeah, I think this is an absolute belter. You also get these ones with a rhodium dial. They actually tend to command a little bit more money, but these ones are really, really hard to beat. So let's now go and look at the GMT-Master, and we have here an unworn 2022, what they call the Batgirl. Now, the GMT-Master is a watch that needs no introduction. It has been out for, gosh, over 50 years in the Rolex range. A model designed for those who love to travel, because the GMT-Master features a dual time zone function. So you'll see on this watch here, that blue extra hand there allows you to have 2 time zones, so a really practical watch. So very popular with pilots and those that travel the world. This one, however, is affectionately known as the Batgirl, and this came out around about 2018. So the Batman itself, which is the one on the oyster bracelet, came out, I think, round about 2013. But when this new model came out in 2018, like with the Yacht-Master, they put the new movement in it as well. So that's that bigger power reserve movement in it. Aside from that, very, very similar, but they introduced a Jubilee bracelet. So that gave the watch a very different look to the oyster one, a little bit dressier and something a bit different for a sports watch. However, in around about 2021, I guess Rolex are always listening to their dealers, to their customers, and I imagine the feedback would have been, we like the oyster bracelet, so they now give you a choice of either. So just very much down to you on what you like. Again, pricing come down massively from where they were. These watches were up and around the £20,000 mark and more only a matter of months ago, and now with the market being realigned, I think they're much better value. Now they are still considerably over what you'd pay for a new one, but still a lovely, lovely watch. So case size on this one is 40mm. It has the maxi case. The bezel here on the top is a ceramic bezel, and you can see here they've managed to combine the colors between the black and the blue. I love the blue hand contrasting against the dial in the older models, and with the Pepsi, Of course, it's the red hand. The watch, the case itself is again 904L grade stainless steel, so it's a really strong and durable watch to wear. Also one, of course, you can take in the water, and this one you can go down to 100 meters, so I think that would be enough for most of you. The crown on the side here, quite typical to all of the sports watches, it actually screws into the side of the case as well. And then it joins here this beautiful Jubilee bracelet there, so you can see the polished center links brushed on the outside edge, and just by all the movements and all the links, it just very naturally fits to the curvature of your wrist. This also features the Easy Link function there and a nice deployment clasp on the back there that locks down just to make sure there's no way that this one is going to fall off your wrist. So again, that's it on my wrist there. And I think, as you can see, a really great looking watch. And up to camera, so you can just see how slim it is. And what we'll do actually is later on I will bring it back and I'll show you this, and we'll compare it to the Pepsi as well. But there we are. That is what they call the Batgirl. So a 2022 unworn example of that. So now we're going to go for probably one of the classic sports watches. A watch that has fond memories for me. Why? Well, it was my first ever Rolex I bought. And funnily enough, I was talking to a gentleman this morning who has phoned up and inquired about this watch. And I was saying to him how prices have gone up so much, because I was about 23 when I bought my first Rolex Submariner, and back then it was £800. And today that watch, I'm now 58, would probably be worth at least £8,000, and so they really have shot up in value. But it was a lot cheaper than what my customer is going to have to pay for one of these today. However, this one is a 2022 unworn Submariner. Now again, the Submariner has been around for a long time. It is just that classic sports watch that you might want to have in your collection. Why? Well, just look at it, it's just stunning, isn't it? I mean, stainless steel, black dial, good enough for James Bond. I mean, you can wear it with any outfit, whether it's a t-shirt, working to work with a suit, go swimming with it, just live with it. It will just become a part of you. And I don't think you'll ever tire of it, because there's no sort of colors you'd get bored of. It's just beautiful. And it's a bit like a Porsche 911, isn't it? You know, there's a car that we can easily identify whether it's 50 years old or bang up to new today, because it's got that classic line to it. That line why people just go buying them again and again and again. And the same with the Submariner. However, while they've kept the look of the watch quite similar, the watch has evolved. Rolex haven't been standing still. They have looked at this watch and they have just made subtle changes. So this one came out in around 2020, late 2020, and this in fact is the new 41mm Submariner date. The reference number on this one is 126610LN, and the 40mm case size stopped, and they introduced the 41mm case size, and they also put this new movement in that you've heard me talk about in the other watches there, so just as accurate as the last one, but a better power reserve, more resistance to shock and magnetism. But what they did do is the earlier model, the 40mm, had what they call the maxi case, and so it was slightly wider down here at the lugs. Well, this one has actually been slimmed down a bit now, so I prefer the look of the new one. I think it's really nice. Hour markers here, good size, so nighttime reading is really good if you wake up in the middle of the night. Of course, as a diver's watch, this will take you down to 1,000 foot. You have this rotating bezel here, unidirectional ceramic insert, and of course the crown that screws in there. So a really lovely watch. Now this of course is what we would call a tool watch. So this really is designed for its purpose for divers, but of course very good seller and worn by many for everything. And of course for that purpose they fitted it here with the oyster bracelet, and you can see there that it has that brushed saturnized look all the way through it, no polished center links. The bracelet, however, is slightly different on the Submariners and the Sea-Dwellers from the GMT-Masters, in that this has what they call the glide lock. So what we do is we pull this away, and then we can just pull that and it slides. So no tools required to adjust it. If your wrist swells up a little bit in the summertime, you can just take it off and adjust it easily. and pop it on your wrist. So I'm going to do that just now, so it's a bit tight. Pop it on my wrist here. And there we go. One classic Submariner date. And back up to camera there for you. Yeah, lovely one. They're just looking at it here, it's just so easy to read the dial, you know, with the magnification there, the Cyclops there about 2.5 times for the date, and it's not too cluttered. I think it's just really nice, and yeah, another 2022 unworn watch. And we have got here the 50th anniversary watch. Now I've got two of these watches as we speak. One is a very, very late 2021, and I've also got a 2021 model in stock. So this is the 50th anniversary Sea-Dweller. In fact, let me just pop that down a second and I'll just show you this one I'm wearing too, so we can compare the two together and see the changes there. So one on my left here, this is the 40mm one. So the Sea-Dweller, again, been around a long time, traditionally always been a 40mm case size. And then they introduced the ceramic one in 2014, it stopped, and in 2017, it was the 50th anniversary of the Sea-Dweller. So Rolex brought out the 43mm case size in this, and they put the new movement in at the same time. And they gave it a slightly wider bracelet, and yeah, it has been a really good seller. But what you do notice on it here, if you look closely, is the writing where it says Sea-Dweller is in red. Now that's something that we used to have back in the single red Submariner days, so it's something just nice, a little bit of color to the dial. And these watches do well. This one is actually priced less expensively than our Submariner, so I think it's very good value. The difference between the Submariner and the Sea-Dweller primarily is its ability to go deeper into the ocean, because where the Submariner goes down to 1,000 foot, the Sea-Dweller goes down to 4,000 foot, and then of course you've got the Big Daddy, the Deepsea, and of course you've got this fantastic new 50mm one that's come out that goes down even deeper. But I mean, that's just like a clock on your wrist. But this one's a really good seller. We do really well with a 50th anniversary watch, and I think for someone who's maybe had a Submariner, wants something a little bit bigger, or someone who's got a big wrist, wants something a little bit chunkier without being too chunky, I think the 50th anniversary does very well. Now, one of the features this watch has that allows it to go deeper is a helium escape valve, but in fact it's an automatic one. So if we think of an Omega, for example, the Sea-Master, the 300 meter, up on the top left-hand corner here, you've got the helium escape valve, but it's manual. With this one here, if we just pop it on its side, you can see this little button here, that is a spring that goes in and out, and it'll automatically release the helium from the watch, and the helium builds up inside the watch when you get very, very deep into the ocean with it. So very, very clever. The bezel on this one is stainless steel, but here with a ceramic insert, and again, this is a unidirectional bezel, and even as I turn that there, I can just really appreciate the quality of the engineering in a Rolex watch. It's really, I love it. And again, I get the chance to compare it with other brands. It's very, very hard to beat. On the side of the case there, you can see it's actually polished stainless steel, and you can see the Rolex crown. This actually screws into the side of the case. And again, like the Submariner, this has the glide lock clasp, but with this one, the only difference here is you can see there, you also have an extension link as well. And this actually folds out, so if you need that, like to put over a dive suit, something like that. So on the wrist, again, nice size to wear. Again, it depends on what you're used to, I think, and what you're looking for, but I think it's good. It's a really lovely, lovely watch. So that is the Rolex Sea-Dweller. You can just see, just sits a little bit higher on the wrist there compared to Submariner. Again, you get the chance to get a good fit on the wrist with a glide lock clasp, and I think once you get used to it, it's really, really good. So I think a really good model within the range. So staying with the Sea-Dweller, let's go on to, well, I'd call it the Big Daddy, but I suppose that new model that's come out is top of the tree now, but in practice, I think this one's going to be big enough for most. And this watch we have here has literally just come in yesterday, and it is the Rolex Sea-Dweller Deepsea. Deep Blue is its official name, but more affectionately known as the James Cameron. Well, I think the camera says it all, doesn't it? It is one beautiful, beautiful looking watch. We've also by chance got this watch in with the black dial as well. Some might prefer the black dial, and it's a lot less expensive than this blue one, but these are very much premium watches. So this is a 2022 unworn Deepsea, deep blue, and this is the model number 126660. And I'm saying that because they've changed it again. I mean, this one's not actually been out that long, and there's now the 13660. Very, very small changes, but this one is now discontinued. So if this is the style you like and you want to get the best you can, which would be an unworn 2022, then this one, you know, might be worth considering. These came out round about 2007 with the black dial, and it very much was a statement piece for Rolex. I mean, this one goes down to 12,800 foot. The case on this one, it's a 44mm case, but the difference, it's not just that size, it's really the difference. For me, it's the thickness. And for some, it's too thick. It's very much down to what you're used to. But, you know, if you are wearing a Planet Ocean or Planet Ocean chronograph, some of these big Breitlings, and you like that sort of size of watch, then you may well buy it. And even if you don't, I think you'll love the color of the dial. You can see here where the blue goes into the black. That's replicating the ocean. As you can look at the top of the ocean, it's blue, then very, very deep down it goes black. And that's what they've tried to do with the dial. And I'll change the hands here so you can see that the writing here where it says Deepsea, it's absolutely in green as well. So a nice bit of color contrast on the dial. This also features the new movement, so again, lovely decent power reserve in it. Again, this has the gas escape valve in it and a ring lock system as well. So a lot of technology built into this watch to allow it to go down to that depth. Again, the helium escape valve you can see on the side. Mounted onto this oyster bracelet there, you can see that the extension clips fitted there, but the way in which this adjusts is slightly different than the 50th anniversary Sea-Dweller or indeed the Submariner. And what we do here is we just lift that there, and then this slides in and out. And you can actually do that without taking off your wrists. So again, if you're diving and you know you've got gloves on, or it just makes it slightly easier for you. So that's how that one works there. But yeah, a really, really lovely watch. I have had a few myself. They are definitely big watches. There's no hiding for that. So for example, that's too tight. So all I need to do is lift this, slide it out a bit, and pop it back on. And there we go. Good looking, isn't it? It's a lovely, lovely looking watch. And we'll just hold it up to camera there. And then also what we'll do is let's go and put this beside the 50th again, so we can just try and help you compare and contrast in case you were thinking, well, which one do I go for? You couldn't go wrong with either, really. This one's definitely a bit more wearable. This is lovely, isn't it? It is just superb to look at. So there we are. That is a 2022 unworn watch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 watches so far, but I said 7 are the best. So where do we finish? Well, how about Pepsi? A Rolex Pepsi, the GMT-Master, affectionately called the Pepsi, of course, for its colors, red and blue. And this is just gorgeous. If I was going in to buy a sports watch today and it wasn't a ceramic Daytona, this is what I would have. I love this color scheme. I used to have the vintage version of this, which I sold to a lovely customer, an airline pilot, and he got it for his 40th birthday, and that watch is flying around the world now and being enjoyed for what it is. But yeah, this is gorgeous. It really is. ceramic bezel with the two colors, red hand going down there, oyster bracelet. And again, this one, like the Batgirl, comes with the oyster or the Jubilee. 40mm case size, stainless steel, great big powers, really, really comfortable to wear. These watches were 22, 23,000 only a matter of months ago. They have come, you know, right down in price. They're still considerably more than list, but if you want just a really nice sports watch to wear, a watch you can wear for everything, yeah, I think this one's worth a look at. It is absolutely beautiful. And just up to camera there. I feel so lucky doing this job to be surrounded by all these beautiful watches, and I get so much pleasure in the conversations I have with customers, whether it's over the telephone or physically meeting with them, just seeing their face when they see these beautiful watches. And you know, I'd love to be able to help you too. So there we are. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you're still watching, thanks for holding on, and I hopefully you've enjoyed these lovely new watches we're sharing with you here in the new year in 2023. My thanks again for your support in watching our videos, and to our customers today who bought from us. And if you haven't, we'd love the opportunity to try and help you get a lovely watch. So thanks so much for watching. You can see more of these beautiful watches on our Instagram and on our Facebook. But if you enjoyed today's video, then please just give us a thumbs up, maybe like and subscribe, and come back and see us next Friday when we'll have some more watches to share with you. Meantime, I wish you a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.